Hi everyone, this is Dave, and this is my first, what would you call this?
Chit Chat with Dave.
Yeah, this is my first attempt at a video on this channel, on Jazz Haven channel. I actually have another one where I do sports videos, and I'm actually sports game videos, and I'm very comfortable with that, but I'm not that comfortable with this because this subject is actually more dear to my heart. And so today I'm going to do, as you can see by the title of this video, it's topic Joe Rushton, and the second portion of this is the club Hangover in San Francisco. They're kind of independent of each other, but at the same time Joe Rushton played there. So the reason why I wanted to do this one is kind of a tribute to my dad, which I think you'll see a couple on this channel eventually, but also to Joe Rushton himself and to his son. And the reason it got me thinking about it is I believe his name is Josh Rushton, has a wonderful channel with a lot of 16mm videos, I believe, that were converted, so everyone could see them and share them, and it's fantastic. And I think the name of that channel is called Zappa the Dewey, and I'm not sure I'm pronouncing that right, but I'm going to show you. So I have someone helping here. So she says, good. Okay, so that's the channel itself. Joe Rushton was an amazing bass sax player, a great, as well as clarinetist, and I believe other things as well. But I love the way he played that bass sax, and in numerous recordings that I have heard over the years. And there was only, to me, two great bass sax players, and one was Adrian Rollini, and Joe Rushton is the other one. And I have a little story that I wanted to share about this. I'm not an expert on the subject at all, and I'm sure that this gentleman, as is his son, is. But anyway, just to add my a thumbs up to this, and a shout out to him as well. And what I wanted to mention was that in this book, this amazing book that I have called Eddie Condon's Scrapbook of Jazz, there's a story in here that stuck with me, and there's a couple of pictures that I'm not going to show you now, but I'll scan them and maybe show you, either you're watching them now or at the end of this video. And so there's a page, it's all pictures, or mostly pictures with little stories. So anyone who has this book will already know this. But it has a couple of pictures of Joe Rushton with one of his motorcycles. And I want to read you this here, which is, I think, fantastic. But it says, Joe Rushton, a desperado in every sense, sitting on his favorite motorcycle at Squirrels. He played metal clarinet and was the best bass saxophone player since Adrian Rollini. What did I say? I said that. So, Joe once loaned Pee Wee his clarinet, that's Pee Wee Russell, when Pee Wee broke his on a job in Chicago. Pee Wee was sometimes forgetful, and when the job in Chicago was over, he took the clarinet back with him to New York. Later, when Joe found out about it, he got on his motorcycle and drove nonstop from Chicago to New York. Pee Wee was playing at Nick's at the time, and when Joe got there, he was on the stand taking a solo. Joe walked right up to the bandstand, yanked the clarinet out of Pee Wee's permanently trembling hands. He said simply, Pee Wee, that wasn't very nice. Joe walked out, got on his cycle, and scooted right back to Chicago. A year or so later, Pee Wee came back to Chicago and met Joe at Squirrel's home in Evanston, the first suburb north of the city. Almost as soon as he arrived, Pee Wee announced that he had to return very quickly to Chicago. Joe said he would take Pee Wee downtown. Imagine Pee Wee riding on the back of Joe's motorcycle for more than 3 feet, let alone all the way to Chicago. Pee Wee was never the same. Neither was Joe's bike, which I absolutely love that story. But like I said, either you're watching it now or I'll share the pictures at the end. It's a great couple of pictures of Joe Rushton. So there's part one of my story. If you need any examples of Joe playing the horn, there are tons. And one thing that really strikes me on the Jump label, I believe a gentleman has posted this on YouTube as well. If you look up Bob Anderson's Oshkosh Serenaders on the Jump label playing, I'm going to sit right down and write myself a letter. Joe Rushton's entry into his solo just knocks me out. He comes in and just completely, it's a great recording anyway, but really sets the tone for an amazing finish. So love the way he played that. The second part of this is the continued tribute to him, my father Enrico, who inhabited Club Hangover, and where Red Nichols played, and Joe Rushton was part of the band, as well as numerous other bands, Muggsy Spanier, Earl Hines, just a slew of other people. And well, actually, let me show you this. I got this off of eBay. This is a tip tray / ashtray. And, okay, I just got the thumbs up that it's coming out pretty clear. So this is a fond possession of mine of what they used actually in the club itself. So for years I wondered where that was, right? And it says Bush Above Powell. And so I did finally locate where it was, and it's now called the Nob Hill Club, or Nob Hill Theater, I believe, and that is an all-male strip club. So I thought I really wanted to see this, to see if there's any semblance of the old club itself. So I called up one day, and he said, well, there's some things we have, like tributes on the wall of what used to be Club Hangover. And before that, I can't exactly think of the complete name. It was the Melody Room or something like that. Actually, I believe Sally ran it and operated it at the time. But anyway, during the years, it was owned by Doc Dougherty, and he ran the Club Hangover. My father was friends with him. My father also became very good friends with Muggsy Spanier, and I'm later going to do a video on that, which I wanted to do for the longest time. But anyway, the story about the Club Hangover. So I went there one day. I brought this with me, and when I went in, we had quite a long conversation, as well as gentlemen walking around, and they're all together. And so, what?
Nothing.
Oh, okay. Yeah, basically nothing. It was an interesting experience, to say the least, but I thought, what I will do for jazz. But on the wall, it did have pictures of the old Club Hangover, and when I was talking to this man, I can't recall his name, unfortunately, and I showed him this. I have several 8x10s of my mom and dad and their friend, and Muggsy Spanier and so forth, that I had made copies and brought to him, that maybe he wanted to include, because it was the pictures taken in the back of the Club Hangover, where they had like the wine and the whiskey all sitting there in crates. And he said, hold on just a second. He went back and he provided me with a picture of Louis Armstrong and Louis Armstrong's appearance signed to them. And it was an actual 8x10, a real 8x10 with Louis Armstrong's signature on it. He said it's been sitting around for years and years and years, obviously since that time, which I thought, I didn't expect anything, that they would have anything at all. As a matter of fact, I heard that somewhere that Nob Hill Theater might close down. I don't know if that's true, or they might be having problems or whatever. But anyway, it was kind of, if you look at the front of it and you look at a picture from the 50s, it does look, pretty close. As a matter of fact, there is a video on Josh Rushton's channel of, I'm not sure what the name of it, I have it in front of me, but anyway, if you look at it, actually, one of these actually has a video of a few seconds outside the actual Club Hangover, which is just amazing. But anyway, it looks very similar. The front of it hasn't changed all that much, so that was actually pretty good. So that's my story of the Club Hangover. I hoped you liked listening to this. Please, comment, or if this was absolutely a waste of time, or you enjoyed listening about it. But anyway, here's my thumbs up to Joe, to Josh, to my father Enrico, and all of the jazz lovers out there who have any kind of likes that are similar to this and have fond memories. I would be interested in hearing yours as well. So thank you so much for watching, and until next time, bye. Rather than, okay, well, here we go. rather than scanning, I've decided just to hold up the book. That's what I read, and there's the pictures of Joe Rushton with his metal clarinet up above and just on the motorcycle below. Is that in the front? Looks like a lamp on the. What the hell?
Yeah.
I just noticed that. But anyway, so there it is for you. And thanks for watching.